This is KUTV Primetime News with Irene Mwangi.
That's time for our discussion tonight, and as we promised, we'll be talking about youth and BBI. Tonight we have Suleiman Wangila, who is the National Deputy Treasurer of the Kenya University Student Organization, KUSO. Many thanks indeed, Mr. Suleiman, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me in your studios tonight, as we are going to discuss different topics affecting the youth, especially on the BBI. So let me take this opportunity to thank the Almighty God for this opportunity, and also the KUTV fraternity.
All right, many thanks indeed for joining us. Now, looking into BBI, a lot has been said about that particular document, and President Uhuru Kenyatta has been on the forefront to rally the youth, given that they're 75% of the population. Therefore, they must back the document for it to be a success. From where you sit, looking into the document, are you for it or are you against it?
First and foremost, BBI, the way it was said, it was a 2 months idea. They sat down in their own wisdom. They saw it wise that we have that document. There are some parts that are good, but there are some parts that don't add up. Let me take, for example, on the Youth Commission, because that is the first issue that the BBI has they have really emphasized on that one. So on the Youth Commission, personally, I think we don't need it. We already have a lot of youth organization and institutions that have been set up by the government that can be able to tackle issues of the youth on a day-to-day basis. What we need is to strengthen these institutions instead of forming more, and yet the existing ones are weak. So to my thinking, I think they need to look at it and give the best way forward. Also, there is this issue that I saw it on the BBI, but I don't know how others will view it. That issue of there's a youth commission. Then we have
the tax waiver.
No, the tax waiver also. So it is also part of it, but that tax waiver, the actuality, the practicability of that idea is not real.
But Suleiman, once we look into what the youth are facing currently at the moment,
yes,
looking into what the document is proposing, we have the issue of unemployment. The unemployment rate here in the country is quite huge. Do you think the document extensively looked into that to a point that the youth can feel that they can back this document? At least it has a bag of goodies for them.
That one, I beg to differ with that one, because currently a lot of businesses are shutting down. There are a lot of businesses that are collapsing due to lack of finances to run them. For example, if a youth wants to start a business in this country, the government requirements that are needed to start those businesses are too many. There are a lot of hindrances that have been put in place that cannot facilitate smooth running of starting a business in this country. That is why you find private investors are running outside, and this one is a big loss to the youth. Like, for example, currently we know a majority of the youth, they are the ones that are occupying the entertainment industry, from the DJs, the musicians. You've seen this, the fate they are suffering. So when we say that BBA is coming to heal, it is not coming to heal anything, because even if they were to add these posts and those goodies they have promised, how are you going to achieve this one if our economy is collapsing? How are you going to achieve this one if you are doing excessive borrowing? Right now, what we need is not BBI, as per my take. I think right now what we needed most was ways of reviving our economy. The only problem that we have with our president and his people is the moment you try to mention something against BBI, you are always branded Atanga. No. At times we beg to differ, because we see it from our angle. Now, it is not that whenever you oppose BBI, you support Tanga. No,
but
it is not that.
From where you sit now, that you're not quite satisfied with the BBI proposals, you don't think they're enough. We're having the proposal by Deputy President William Ruto, the Wheelbarrow Initiative, and now we're talking about bottom-up approach. Do you support, perhaps do you think that might be the next solution for the youth as compared to the BBI proposal?
Okay, according to the wisdom of fools, they are saying that now that Uhuru has failed, let us elect Ruto. These people are conjoined. If one fails, they both have failed. Because if Ruto was not part of the government, he could have resigned and left the position. But he's part of the government, he's part of the failure. If he can't rectify those mistakes, what makes us trust him that he's going to rectify when he becomes the president? There is no way. In 2013 to 2017, in 2012 to 2017, when they took power, that is where we had huge borrowing and huge corruption. So I don't think if that one is that bottom-up economy, because where will he get the money? Or if there's a way, he's going to advise the government. Why can't he advise the government at this point? So that Tanga brigade, the only thing that I think they differ is ideology. But these people are just the same. There's nothing new they can bring on board. So to me, I will advise the youth of this country. And quite frankly, if I were them, if I would advise them, I would advise them to go for these elective positions. Let them not sit down and be cheerleaders. No, let them take the active part in running for these elective positions.
But perhaps before we get into the issue of whether they should get into positions of powers and whether they should run for political offices, given that you are a leader in an organization that focuses on university students, that is the Kenya University Student Organization, KUSO, perhaps what would you think the proposal concerning the issue of HELB, given that the government has given a waiver period concerning that issue, and maybe that might be a dangling carrot to youth in the university to support this particular initiative? Don't you think those are some of the positive proposals that the youth might take up upon if they are to support the BBI report?
According to me, HELB it should be like an incentive that is given to the government by the government. You know, it is always like a gift after you doing well in your exams and getting that opportunity to join the higher education. So I was thinking, my best thinking was, these people could have at least after 5 years or that period they have given, that grace period, it is good they write it off instead of forwarding that debt to 3 years. Yet there are no jobs. You know, the biggest problem here is there are no jobs. Right now, HELB is not going to fund some other students because they don't have money. So if they forgave those debts that were for the coffee farmers and the tea farmers, they can also extend that hand and help the students that are currently struggling. People are graduating every year. About 1 million students are graduating to the job market. There are no more jobs that are being created, but instead jobs are reducing. You will find majority of our graduates now engaging in as casual laborers for them to survive. They have their families, they have their people to look after. So to me, I would have preferred if they could have just written it off instead of postponing the debt, because that means that you'll still have to pay. Or they come up with another system of which they'll help the student so that they can be able, because help assists a lot in the university, especially for the students from vulnerable families. So my thinking on that help, I don't think if it will do much, but now that they have given us that, it is also better. Lakini, they could have also created an avenue where that help money can be written off after a certain period where somebody has not gotten employment. Let's say like 5 years, you're out. If you're not sure of getting employed and the government is sure that these guys are going to get employed, it is good they write it off instead of postponing the debt. That is my take.
You've talked about the issue of BBI proposing the Youth Commission, and you think maybe we have a lot of organizations at the moment, therefore there's no need of having another say toothless commission to help the youth. But do you think even the current organizations that are in place are not empowered enough, they're not financed enough, and therefore we're having the youth lagging behind in terms of, say, representation, in terms of, say, people coming on the forefront to help in their situation and the challenges they are facing? The current organizations, have they failed as is?
Yeah, sure, they have failed because one, look at those people that are heading this organization and institutions set up by the government. You'll find that people from wealthy families. Secondly, you'll find these people, they lack experience and expertise. And most of these people are always political rewardees. They are always rewarded positions. So they have nothing, pure nothing to do with the youths. And you can even go and audit their age, and you see they are not even youth, majority of them. The other day, people were rejecting the other person who was, the other woman who was elected to head the youth commission. People rejected her. She's too old to understand. Let me give you an example. Mudi Awori is heading one of the youth allied institutions or organization. But the guy cannot deliver anything. So I think the best that we could have done is this institution should be identified and given to youths that are known, youths that are there to protect the interest. I can say even the current youths that have been given this position, they don't deliver much. Look at our friend Zach Enodia. He's not doing much. He's just doing a lot of drama and a lot of politics. There's nothing he's doing to uplift the life of other youths so that he can act as a good example. The only people that I think they are good to be emulated as youth is like the likes of Kina Mutula, Kilonzo Jr. You know, they might have surpassed the youth, but they reflect what the youth want. Somebody that is very good in reasoning and actions also speaks. So on our side, youths are always covered with greed because they see what others are doing. So when they get this position, what they think is always how much they're going to get out of it.
Perhaps, Wangila, what could be the solution to this problem, given that it is something that is ailing the country when it comes to either appointments, when it comes to people who have been selected to stand in those particular positions? What can be the action that the majority of youth can take to take positions and to take their mandate concerning what is happening in those particular institutions?
Okay, I would like to advise the government that for this institution to be vibrant, one, you need to let the youths themselves select these people. You need to allow the youths to have an election that is going to allow them to elect these people.
It will be too expensive, Wangila.
There's nothing that the government cannot do. Government has the budget. Instead of taking somebody there that is just going to be taking money to their pockets and the poor youths that are there are not benefiting, why can't we just do a small election? It is not that expensive, or delegates from each county to come and elect somebody that is good, instead of somebody hand-picking their friends, instead of somebody hand-picking their relatives to those positions. So I'm also thinking that to my knowledge, it is best that we do this thing open, free and open, because they'll bring in somebody that is a youth, but this guy has nothing, doesn't understand anything to do with youth leadership, doesn't even understand anything to do with leadership. So second, on some other point that I also like to hammer in was about these youth leaders being from a particular region or a particular tribe. They have to let this thing be regionally balanced. They have to let this thing be very open. Let it not be tribal based. Even as we look at the current appointments, we can just see how they are distributed. Look at the judiciary, look at the executive, and look at the legislature. Then you'll understand what I'm saying. It has to be free, fair, and equal to all the citizens of this great republic.
All right, still talking on the BBI, and given that the youth are the majority, even when it comes to election, the youth decide because of course, their numbers. The BBI is a document that has promised unity in the country, but some institution of the youth have said no. the BBI is not the solution to unity in the country, does not clearly outline how unity will be spelt out in terms of leadership and governance. From where you sit, do you see how this particular document will be the magic when it comes to the issue of turmoil, political turmoil, every time we have an election in the country?
I don't think so, because we created BBI to sort the problem of winner takes it all, according to them. But let's look at it. These positions, they have created 5 at the top. How is it curing the winner takes it all initiative? It doesn't, because still the majority leader in parliament will still be the prime minister. So all the 5 positions will be taken by the winner. So that logic isn't even adding up a bit.
Right.
When you walk there, the opposition leader will still be the opposition. Whatever he'll just be given is just maybe an office and maybe this and that, a shadow cabinet, of which that one still, it won't cure anything. If the loser, if the opposition is bitter with it, how will that even work? We are still not sorting out the problem. So that fallacy is only being used by the government because they have failed to deliver on things that they promised us.
Right.
So I don't think if that document is there to cure, or the way they are saying they are going to be distributing constituency to at least ensure that equal representation of people. Okay, to my thinking, again, Ruiru constituency is going to be divided into 3 constituencies. Ruiru is well developed with good roads, good water, electrical connectivity is at par. But go to the western part of Kenya, go to the Nyanza, go to the coast, go to the northeastern, then you'll understand that indeed that thing, the constituencies and more resources should be pumped down there, so that those people cannot be moving towards this side to search for employment. But let's create opportunities in those areas, so that we avoid the rural-urban migration, so that those areas that are down there can also develop. So,
don't you think the areas in Western and so have been underdeveloped because of misembezzlement of funds, and the issue of us getting more constituencies, say in Ruiru, is because of the numbers vis-a-vis the CDF money that is given to Ruiru constituency as compared to, say, Othaya? Don't you think that is where the disparity comes in?
Okay, to some point we can agree Ruiru is more populated, but it is a cosmopolitan area. Nairobi is a populated county, and it is a developed town. So once we add 12 constituencies to it, who are we benefiting? And majority of people in Nairobi are working class and stable. A lot of the poverty index in Nairobi is low compared to those areas that are down there. So my thought was we could have just pumped more resources in those counties that are in rural areas, so that we can create opportunities for those areas to grow. Look at our sugar belt region. We can no longer produce sugar in this country because production cost is high. And this production cost is caused by the electricity cost and the tariffs from the government. They are making those areas, those companies and industries in those areas to die. So majority of people are moving to the urban areas, that is Nairobi, and to search for those employment opportunities which are not even there. So if I was the government, I could have developed those areas. Okay, the government is lying to us that they are building more roads, but they are building these roads at inflated costs. Let me give you an example. This road that is connecting Westlands and the JKA.
Express Highway.
Yeah. That road is being constructed at a cost of 10,000 per millimeter. So they are not doing any development as far as I'm concerned. They are just embezzling. They are just looking for an avenue which they are going to loot and loot more. Look at the SGR, for instance. SGR, according to Kibaki, when he was designing that system, SGR was to run from Mombasa to Busia. But according to the wisdom of this Jubilee government, they thought it was wise for them to use the same amount that Kibaki wanted to use from Mombasa to Busia to construct it from Mombasa to Nairobi. Very expensive, very expensive. Then
Right,
from
Ongila,
that,
perhaps as we touch on that, talking about how maybe the Jubilee government is,
Performing.
stealing from the public coffers, looking into the way pre-independence, we saw the youth then, the Simon Nyachai of these times, the Kenneth Matiba being on the forefront to fight for what they saw was required as the youth. Now the youth of this particular century, they're busy fighting to be in the youth leagues of, say, Kano Youth League, say, ANC Youth League. The youth are not taking the forefront when it comes to leadership. They just want to stay in a cocoon of a youth league. Do you think the youth have failed in terms of leadership? And even in the forthcoming election, they might just be bystanders, people to go on the ballot and not be people who are making decisions there.
Okay. On that, let me take, for example, my party, ODM. ODM, the youth leader, has been there since 2007. And they have never changed since 2007 up to date. Look at the Jubilee government, the Jubilee administration. Same, when it comes to picking these youth leaders, they know whom they pick. So the only solution for youths, even if today a youth was to run, because majority of us youths, we don't have resource for us to run for those elective positions. Because these people, they came in with a lot of money, they have made politics to be very expensive. So if you want to vie, you'll need money to print t-shirts. You'll need money to print posters. You'll need money to at least give us a handout, because you cannot, as the Swahili goes, mkono mtupu haulambwi. But this culture of handouts, these older men and women that have looted from us are the ones that are instituting it, which is really great, which has really brought us youths down, because we cannot be able to amass such wealth within this short period of time. But they had that opportunity to amass this wealth. They had this opportunity to do shady business deals and get money. But during, like us, we just graduated, you don't have that money. But we want to get in those positions for us to be able to serve our people. But the moment you go down the ground, people need this money, because that has been the culture. You steal from them, then you come and share the small loot with them, then they sing your name. So it has really made the politics to be very expensive.
All right, that opinion is relative, but as we finalize, given that you are an influencer in terms of youth and leadership as the National Deputy Treasurer, what do you think can be the aspiration of youth moving forward, even past the BBI process, which will come and go, depending on how it goes? What can be your final put in terms of the aspirations of the youth?
I can say youth of this country are very hardworking people. When you wake up tomorrow early in the morning, and you walk towards Gikomba area, you go towards Mudhurwa and these outskirt towns, you'll find all of them waking up very early, pushing carts, others selling, doing odd jobs for them to be able to be for them to sustain themselves. So I will really love to urge the youth of this great country not to give up. This country belongs to us. And let them not just sit there and watch as this country is being looted, and yet they can't do anything to protect. Let them just wake up. Let them grab this leadership position. Let them not be there as spectators. Let them be participators. And I'm not requesting them for much. Let them not go for an office that is too expensive and they are not going to be able to manage. Let them go for the MCA position. Let them come up with a very applicable and realistic manifesto. Let them be honest with the community. Let them transform this community so that the future generation can be able to say that there was a generation that came that really changed the way things look. They really influenced and brought in a lot of changes. We know the majority of these governors are old men. Once we have youth as MCAs, if these people don't perform, the youth are going to give them a certain trajectory that they are going to take. So I would really love our youths to wake up from where they are and fight for these positions. Let them not be there just to be used and be carried around. No. We have the numbers. We are the majority. We have the will. And we have that energy which these people lack. And we have the power with us. So I'm calling all youths in the Great Republic. I'm calling the entire comrades from Kuso. I know we can do it. It is our time.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Suleiman Wangila, for your perspective on the youth and BBI. All right, that's all he had for you. For youth and BBI, Mr. Suleiman Wangila here is saying that the youth should take action. They have the will, they have the power, they are the majority when it comes to people going at the ballot. We are taking a short break, but we'll be back on what is happening beyond our borders. Stay tuned.